Hello there, folks. Hey, this video goes out to my friend Dennis, who sent in a question asking, sometimes their HMI database has multiple 45 devices connected to it, and if certain devices aren't there, they get some weird responses or weird things happening. So in this example, I have three devices that are talking Modbus 485, and it could be Modbus TCP or it could be Allen Bradley PLC. It doesn't really matter, but anyway, those three devices, I am looking at one register and all of them to show whether a push button is on or off. And in this case, I'll just show you. I'm using 45 comms. So I've got the 45 port on my device set up as a master. And then I've got three devices under there. Drop number one or slave number one, slave number two. You can see the number here. And of course, there's the drop number and number three. And on all three of those, I have a push button wired to 40,001. That's for the first one. This is for the second one. Notice right there the number. And there's the third one right there. So that's all I'm doing right now is showing here on the screen. So let me show you this working. Here it is on this screen right here. And let me go here. So we can look together that I can on slave one, turn on that. You see it goes on here. And I can go to drop number two or slave number two and turn on, there it is there. And I can go to drop number three and turn it on there. So let's pretend, team, that device number two, for instance, is not present or loses power. So I'm going to go to my control panel here that lets me manually turn on and off things. So let me turn off number two right here. That'll power down number two. And you see instantly that that went dashed lines here. And then this screen here eventually will time out. But you see how it went dashed lines? So regardless, well, I can't do anything here because it's actually off. Let me go ahead and turn that guy back on. Leave that up. Oops. And we want to get back to this guy here. Okay, so if I go ahead and turn this one back on, power back up here, and this thing should work. We'll see it come back to life here. I'm looking at the physical screen. It takes about 15 or 20 seconds for these devices to come online. So it's loading. Let's see here in a second. Okay, there it is, back online, and you can see it resumed that position. Now, let's go one step further on this, and let's say that, hey, if device number two is not present, this guy, I don't even want to see this on the screen. So what I can do in Crimson here, these are currently two individual elements. This is nothing more than a indicator. This guy right here, drag out there, and then all I did on this is I switched this image here to Simple Factory Gadget Lights 2. And down here, I just really just drug that right there. But there's that position. Now, you're going to see this on a lot of stuff in Crimson. You have a show tab. So you can use the show tab to determine whether that should show up or not. And here, this guy here is nothing more than a data box drug out with that. Then you can also see there's a show tab there too. Well, I'm going to make both of these a grouping, which will allow me to do one show command. So let me go ahead and lasso both of them like that. I'll right click and I'll group them together. Now that I've grouped them together, I can right click here and go to properties. And you'll see here, I have a visible state here, same thing as the show tab. So the only time I want this to show up is if that device is online. Well, before I add that to this, let me go over here to data tags. I have another folder called logic. And in here, I've got three flag tags, which we'll get to here in a second. But if we go to this show to status, notice that it's currently blue and the source is internal. Well, I've got other videos on IsDeviceOnline, but I'll just show it again here. In the lower right-hand corner, I'll go to System, expand the functions tree, expand the comms device, and there's a function here called IsDeviceOnline. That will be a 0 if it's not online. It'll be a 1 if it is online. So I'm going to drag this right here, boom, right there. But notice the 0 right here. If you see the 0 right here, that is the device number. So you have two things you can do here, team. Over here in communications, I can click on slave number 2. That's what we're talking about. And you can see right here that refers to that as device number 3 or this name. So let's remember number 3, but I'm also going to copy this name. So if I right click on it one time where I can get to the text, I'll copy that physical text word, go back to here. I can either put my cursor in here and put a number 3 like that, and that'll work. However, the thing I don't like about that is I have to go find out what is number 3, number 2, whatever. Instead, here's a cool thing. I can put my cursor in here and Control V or paste the name, hit enter, and that's going to do the name. That's what I want to do. So now, if I go back here to display pages, and this here is that same thing on the screen here, but I only want to show this conglomeration, this grouping. I only want to show that when device number 2 is online. So let's go ahead and right click on this, go back to properties here again. And I only want to do that when this thing equals 1. So you have two ways you can do this, team. You can either drag this thing like here, boom, like that, and that will imply that it will equal 1. Or if you want to do it the long way, I'll do it like this. I'll put my cursor in here. One time after blue, space, double equals, boom, 1, enter. That's the other way you can do it. All right, let's try this out and see if this theory works. Let me save it. Let me download it real quick here to this thing. Okay, whoops, where's my screen? There's that. Okay, I see that I'm having technical difficulties here. Okay. All right, so I finally got I had another monitor on that was fighting me there. All right, so here I am. You can see, team, I can turn this on and off. You can see it clearly shows up here. Now let me pull up my control panel. That'll let me turn off. Now, I'm hoping after I turn this off, this disappears. Let's see. Turn it off. There we go. Boom. So now I don't even have the option. Okay, so that's one way you could use the IsDeviceOnline, and that removes it from there. Now the HMI is still looking for that device periodically, so if I happen to go reconnect this or turn it back on over here, give it that 15 or 20 seconds here to boot up, it should automatically come back. Let's see here. Yeah, the screen is still booting up here. I should have my camera on this, but oh well, don't. Oh well. Like I said, it takes like 20 seconds to reboot. There it is. Boom. Came right back live. Perfect. Okay. Now let's take this a step further. Let's go to the next step here, and let's go a little deeper. So let's create another flag tag here called all on. Okay. And let's pretend, we're not going to pretend, we're going to do it. We're going to say we want this tag to go on when push button 1, 2, and 3 are all on. So I'm just going to create a compound and statement in here. I can go a general like this, and I can go over here to data tags. Well, and I'll just do this. I'll go ahead and I'll drag this guy, drag it right here, boom, like that. However, I want to and that with number 2 and number 3 push buttons. So I'm going to try something. Right click, copy this. Okay, then I put my cursor in here. One time after, I'll click one time, turns blue. Click one more after the blue, space, shift and number 7, ampersand, control V, paste. However, this is going to be number 2. So I'll change that to that position. I'll go to the end, space, shift number 7, ampersand, control V again, and this will be number 3. Now, if I did this correctly, when I get to the end here, I should be able to hit enter, and it should turn blue. Ready? 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay, that accepted. All right, now we're going to test this, and then we're going to get to the real meat of my thing here in a second. Okay, so let's download this to it. See if now, if on our display page, we'll get there. I got too many things open, team. All right, so we'll turn this off. We'll turn that off. It's already off. We'll turn that off. Okay, so we're looking to see this tag here go on when all of these go on. So, all right, we'll start at slave number 1. Boom. That's it. Slave number 2. Boom. Right there. And slave number 3. Boom. Right there. Perfect. That's what it wants. That's great. If I go to slave number 2 and turn it off, you can see it goes off. Turn it back on. Oops, turn it back on. There you go. Perfect. That's what I want. Now, here's the question. What happens when this guy is not live? What happens to this math? Okay. So to do that, let's just try real quick here. Let's go turn that off. Boom. Watch. So all of a sudden this went away because the equation is not valid because it's missing this guy. So one could say, well, that's a problem because it should be there. Or another person could say, wait a minute, if that device is not there, do the same math with these two guys. So that'll cause you to ponder a little more. What does that mean? Well, there's a couple ways you could do that. Let's put it this way. I need a way to fake the logic for this thing when this guy's not here. So if I go back to Crimson and on this all on one here, let's ponder our thoughts. You can see here, but basically when this status of slave 2 goes to the 0 state, we really need this one here. I guess we'll say fill into a 1 because I want it to mimic being on. So I'm going to try this a little bit different. I'm going to go over here to programs. I'm going to write a little program. So I'll create a new program and I'll ask the question if open parentheses, and here's that slave status right here. Boom, that guy there. If this guy equals 1, which means it's present, then I'll go ahead and do an enter squiggly mark. And I'm going to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do PB underscore 2 shall equal a 1. Notice it's one symbol. It's a 1 equal sign. Okay. All right. That's that. Or let me do this. If the opposite of that, this thing happens to equal 0, which means it's not online. In that case, I want PB underscore 2 to equal a, then I want it, hold on, I think I screwed up. This one here means it's online. So in this state, I really want it to grab this guy. That's what I meant to say, sorry about that. And then down here, if it's not there, I want it to be a 1, a constant. All right, so let's see if I can, okay. So if I go ahead and translate, it ought to bark at me because PB2 does not exist. So let me do boom. Okay. Now PB2, I'm going to make that be a flag tag because that's what all the rest of our push buttons. All right. So now I got that. Okay. That works. Now this code, I'm going to run this. In this case, I'll run this in the background for this example. So I'll go over here to pages. I mean, there's many ways you can do this, but I'll go to pages. I'll go to programs. I'm going to drag this out here on tick. I'll just do it once a second, okay? Because there's something else I have to fix on this to see if it works. Now I'm going to go back to my data tags. Here's that equation, but listen, instead of this middle thing being the real PB from slave 2, it should now be this thing right here, okay? So I'm going to go here and edit this equation. I guess you could hit this edit button. I will tell you, some Windows versions, this shows up really small, so you may be better off just typing in here. Or if you really get frustrated, you can hit the pull down, go to complex, and that opens up this big window like this. Either way works. But anyway, I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to change this middle thing to be, I wonder if I can double click on this. Nah, I didn't want to do that. Crap. Okay, hold on. Let me do this. So let me do it again. Let me go ahead and delete this. And I'm just going to type PB underscore 2, hit enter. Perfect. All right, let's see if this works. I don't think it will completely, but the theory is there. Let me go ahead and try it. Download it. Let's see what it does here. And let me make sure let me turn on my slave number 2 here. Okay. All right, let's see if it comes back to life. It's still turning on, so hold on here. Well, all right, let's see. It comes back to life. Should be on. And it's slave number 2 is alive here. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so I got everything back up and running. So again, if I do my same logic here, go here, turn that on. There you go. And turn that on. Everything works the same. My problem is like if I turn off number 2. So if you'll see here, I'll turn it off again. And you'll see my math doesn't quite work right because, well, Yes, it did actually. That stayed on. Prior to this change, this would have went off because that dropped away. So it did do what I wanted. That's perfect. That's a nice feature. Now, if I go back to slave number 2, I'll turn it back on. It's still off. Let's see what happens here. That's what I wanted it to do. I'm going to throw in one more thing in here to prove that that part of the equation is working here. As soon as I get this thing to reload back up. There. So it's back up. Yep, perfect. Yep. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to see. Let me go back. I want to throw one more thing in this code real quick. If you're wondering what part of this code is working, you can always add like, let's do this. Let's call this counter _1. Whoops. And we'll just do ++ here. That's a counter. And then since this is 0, I'm going to call this one counter _0. And I'll do ++. All right, let me go compile this. Boom. Say yes, these are both going to be integers. Yes, okay. The only thing I was going to say in this program you might have to do is on the properties, you might have to check this run anyway button. Let's try it without it. I just want to see what happens here. So let me go over here and I'm going to put on the screen. I just want to see all 3 of these. So I'll grab all 3 of these out here like this. This will give us an idea of what's going on. All right, let's try it out here, team. Let me save it. Let me download it. Let's see what it does here. Okay. That's me downloading right there. Okay, there's that. Oops. Ah. All right, stay up there. Okay, so you kind of see it's really small, but you can see it counting here. Okay, so that's good. Let's go try my math here once again. So we'll just go here, turn that off. Okay, we'll turn this guy off. Okay, that's fine. Then we'll turn that on. We'll turn that on. Turn this on. That works perfect. Now let's turn off number 2, and let's see if the counter 0 starts to count up. Let's go here. We'll turn off number 2 right there. Okay, it's going off. Let's see. And the logic stayed on. This should be counting up right now. Yeah, that's interesting. Let me turn it back on real quick here just to see what happens here. That stayed on, so that's good. Let's see what happens here. Well, I think that's where that run anyway will come into play. Let's try it here. Okay. Still rebooting. Let's see if it comes back to life. Ah, there it is. Perfect. Okay. So that worked exactly what I wanted. Well, except for that wasn't retentive. Okay, so there we go. Let me go over here. I want to make this, I want to go here. I'll make this run anyway, because we should see this counter count up when it's in this mode. Let's try it out here. Okay, all right. That's me downloading to it. There it is. It's up and running. It all looks good. Everything's up. Let me go turn that guy off. Here we go. Boom. Turn it off. Yep, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And if I go turn it back on, of course, that tag is not retentive, so I think it's going to come up always in the off state. We'll find out here shortly, team. Watch. Let's see. Which will probably take this right to off, but that's okay. But let's see what it does here. Still booting. I should go through and delete that part of the video, but oh well. All right. And it should come back to life. And so here it is. There it goes. There. Yep. I should not play with it, but anyway, yep, working perfect, exactly as I wanted. Anyway, that's just one way you can use the IsDeviceOnline to show things, and then you can go a step further, and you could write some code to, I guess I'll say, fake your code to work as if the device is not there. A lot to ponder in this, but anyway, I just wanted to show you the show. Anywhere you see the the viewable part here, that part, or you can have buttons that take you to pages. Anywhere you see the show or the view, that's where you can use that. Anyway, folks, thanks a lot. Have a great day. We'll see you.